All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today's meeting. We have I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right, Prakash.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have Prakash here, who's going to be presenting a topic, async processing in Apex. Choose the right tool. Um, if you've worked in Salesforce development for any amount of time, this is definitely a topic you really need to know and really understand. And it's something I deal with on a daily basis. My team deals with on a daily basis, and um, there's lots of good tools out there, but it is kind of confusing. So this is a really timely event, I think. So a really timely topic. So. Like I said, I'm going to turn it over here to Om here in just a minute, and I will be monitoring the chat. So if anybody has any questions they want to ask, feel free to enter them into the chat. Otherwise, um, the floor is yours, Om. Go ahead.
yeah, thank you. Hi everyone, thank you very much for joining. I am audible clearly, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, so let's get started. Once again, thank you everyone for managing your time for this session. And of course, thank you, Jason, for having me today. I'm really grateful. Okay, so little bit about me. Om Prakash here. I am running Appy Crown Private Limited from last 3 years. I am in the Salesforce ecosystem from last 11 years. I am a Salesforce MVP from class 2020, and I love learning, sharing in the community. We can connect on the LinkedIn as well as Twitter here. Okay, so as we started like important of the async process. So we know like in Salesforce, when we work with some large data sets, when we work with some use cases where our user are going to wait for something, right? It's not good experience. So we need to go with the process where processing is happening in the backend and we don't need to wait. So here we are going to discuss how to run the process in the background without disturbing the main flow like screen, I can say here. How can we offload the heavy work in background, and of course corner limits, because we are working in the cloud, so it's very important terms, and we need to take care like users should not face issue on the while using application. So just quick, like let's start with very basic terms like sync and async. So here, like let's say we are on the user interface, we are entering some data, we are just getting the output in the real time. Well, all in async. Normally we do day night, right? Using the Salesforce user interface, doing our daily routine, viewing the dashboards. Okay, let's say we have a couple of records. Just I am going to search something, I am entering the search term, data is coming in the real time, it's all in the sync. But just challenge comes like when we have to automate something. Like let me talk one example. As soon as lead record created, we need to send some data outside of Salesforce, right? Like from trigger, generally we need to call out. Okay, we'll go in the background just to divide the context. Like we need to create some different context, and in the background we can call out the API. At same time, if we have large records, let's say millions of records, and we need to process, no one is going to wait for that, right? So we are going to handle that in the asynchronous way. And why it's needed? So in the previous example, when I was telling large data set, so for millions of records it will take time, and if it will running in the background, we don't need to wait on the screen, right? If large data means, of course, let's say if you have to update the 1 million record, okay, 2 million records, of course we need to take care the governor limits. how many records we can update in one context. So here it will be taken care in the asynchronous process, and user experience will be better. Let's say today I just scheduled some job daily 10 a.m. I need to send the reminder email. Okay, I don't need to depend on that 10 a.m. I don't need to wait. Okay, 10 a.m. will come and I will go and send the email to someone. So we can increase the user experience, we can manage the large operations in the efficient way. So here in the Salesforce we have multiple way for the asynchronous tools, like even go with the Salesforce flows, terms like platform events. But today in this session we are talking in the Apex context, right? We are going to talk in the terms of Apex. So here we have four key things for today's session. We have future methods. Let's say very simple example. When order is processed in the Salesforce, we need to notify external system, and we are aware, okay, there is just possibility one record, two record, or three record is going to update. That's fine, just call the future methods and notify the external system. Okay, here we have some limit, I will talk later. Like we can call 50 future method in one context. Like let's say if we are updating 50 record in one go and we are calling one by one, then maximum 50 records can be called out. So here this is Apex future. Okay, but Apex future methods comes with some limitations, right? We can't pass the some S object data type in the parameters. Okay, we can't really track the we can't get the job ID of future method. So now let's come on the queueable. It's very similar to future, but coming with the more power and more feasibility, along with option to chain. Like we can call one Apex queueable from another queueable method, but in the future we can't. So here I personally look future, then little more feasibility, little more option on the queueable and batch. Again, I always use the million of words, right? Like if you have more data processing needed, let's say we have 5,000 records and we have to call out the external system, and limitation is that they are taking the record one by one. Like for example, I need to send the message and I'm using some provider like Twilio or Nextmo, and let's say they are just taking parameter one message, one number. So we need to send one by one, right? Like then here session is go in the batch, because in the batch we have option to create the multiple like we can call the execute method. It will automatically taken care execute method, so we can pass record one by one and we can call out the external API. So no worry, I'm just summarizing here. In the next slides I will talk more details for all these options. And then just recurring task, as I was talking earlier. Let's say I have to send the reminder daily 10 a.m. Let's say we have to wish happy new year, maybe Christmas wishes. Then we can go ahead and we can schedule the job, and Apex will run from the scheduled class. If you just look on the all four option again, future methods, let's say lightweight process, just we need to fire and forget. Okay, Apex queueable, more powerful than future methods, but coming with the more options. Like we can create the chain, we can call from one another, and batch Apex best fit for the large data sets where longer time will be taken care. And schedule job, just go ahead and schedule the Apex to run on the specific time. Let's look one by one on the details, decision making, as well as when we should avoid this. So future, again, very simple, fire and forget. We don't have control to just call one future from then other future. Okay, we don't have option to pass the I can say the is object parameters. Okay, then just we need to make sure it's handled like, okay, we are using the static method and returning the void. We can't return any data type from the future methods. This is something we need to keep in mind. And when you have to immediately do some transaction, like I was talking earlier in the previous page, when order is processed, or even let's say I know record is not modified in the batch bulk, means okay, user is going to edit one record, and okay, just after call out some external system, we can go with the future methods. So again, only important thing here between future and queueable, if we need to call one by one, like if we need to go in the chain, we'll go with the queueable, not the future. And one example, we are updating the shipping address in Salesforce, and we need to send that address to the external system so shipment can be taken care by the courier team. Here I'm assuming, okay, we are using the order and related details in the Salesforce, and courier company is not using Salesforce, they are outside of Salesforce. So as soon as address is updated, just we are notifying them, okay, this address is for this specific order. And how we can do this? Very simple, just we need to follow public static void no return type, pass the parameters, primitive data types, and important thing here just future. And why call out equal to true? Because here I am going to call the external system API, so we need to add call out equal to future. And some corner limits, because we are in the Salesforce, we are in the multi-tenant environment, so we need to keep in mind maximum 50 future methods is allowed in the per transaction. Like if I check this, like let's say there is a for loop, we are running on the uh, number of records, and we are calling future methods one by one. If there is a 51 records modified in one go, then it will fail because we are calling it one by one. So before using future methods, very carefully we need to plan how we are calling it. If we are calling it in the for loop, and if we think, okay, there might be possibility that bulk record, multiple record will be updated in one go, we will not use future methods there. Again, important thing here, it's not guaranteed the order. Let's say I am calling the two future methods in one Apex context. It might be possible first one, line one will be executed first, or maybe vice versa. Maybe second future method will be executed first, because again here it's asynchronous, it's going in the backend, and it will it we can't control which will run first or second. Now, how can we monitor this? Just use the Apex job. Here, let's go in the Salesforce, and why not? Let's have a quick demo for this. So, in this org, I have already that class. I have created the class name customer data manager. Okay, so just as I have added here in the screenshots. Okay, let me share my screen. I think I need to share this full screen. Okay, now I hope my full screen is visible. So I'm just open this Apex class here. I should open the VS Code, but that's fine. Directly I'm opening in browser. Let me go to the okay developer console, and I'm just going to call out from here, and let's say Okay, just okay. So I'm just going to call in the for loop just in the real time. You assume we are having trigger and we are just running this on the maybe lead, and here is a list of trigger. Okay, but for now just I am using the like this. Okay, limit too many future calls 51. Now if I go and make this uh, 49, I guess, because I started with 0 here. So let's say now good, we can go in the Apex job, and we can see here customer data manager 50 time, all future. So we need to keep this thing in mind first while execute while using the future methods. And meanwhile, I think good thing we can have the interactive session. So if you feel free to unmute yourself and ask any question, or maybe add some more context if you want to add what I am sharing. And if you feel yeah you have recently experienced some more thing, please go ahead and please text in the chat so we can discuss on that context as well. Okay, so now always there is good practice to use the debug log, like if during development you have to track how your future methods is working. So go ahead, add a debug log, track from your Apex job page how it's working or if it's failed. Okay, so now coming on the queueable, as in the beginning I was talking, very similar to future but coming with some more features, more feasibilities, and we just need to keep things in task. Like here I can, you can say I just try to make it little related, like future methods, let's say just fire and forget. And queueable, let's say a project manager who has responsibility to ensure all the tasks are getting delivered. So as a project manager, just here queueable is playing a role, like okay, you can we can call the one queueable from another queueable, and they are responsible to run the process in the backend. Things here, just there is a limited depth depending on the corner limit. We can't just go in the infinite loop, right? There is a limit, so we need to plan accordingly. If you feel again large data sets, session each go with the batch, will come on the batch very soon. If you need to just return the job ID, and you are storing that job ID somewhere, or maybe with help of that job ID you are going to track the status from the Apex. Yes, queueable is good fit, because in future there is no concept, there is no job ID, you can't track from programmatically. Then again in that Apex, like let me go back on the future methods, let me click edit, and here I am going to write account, and let's say okay, feature method do not support the parameter type of the account, but when we are using queueable, of course we can take that value. So I also have one class here, excuse me, I'm just using browser here. As always we should use VS Code or any tools of your preferred. So I hope I have some class process order. Okay, so let's come on the slide first. Like here in this example, once order is placed, queueable will just generate the invoice and send the shipping request to external system. Okay, and again just only important thing is process order class name implements queueable. We are going to use the this queueable interface here, and in the constructor we can take our parameters, we can assign, and under the execute we can have our logic, and we can just in queue we can just run this queueable method, queueable job with help of system dot in queue job, and now pass the class variable, like process order is my class. So here you can see new system.enqueue job and just instance of that class, and I am taking this parameter order number here in this class constructor process order and assigning to this class level variable, and I'm using this class level variable order number here in this execute method. And yes, here you can create your logic. Okay, if you need to call out, like I was talking, we need to send the request outside of Salesforce, then important thing, go here, add, just we need to implement allow callouts interface, allow callout interface in the queueable, and we can call out from here. So for example, if I go to my Apex class, then here is my process order class. I'm going to developer console, then our job will be started, and if we need to make a chain, we can again call it from here, right, just directly inside this method. Okay, so here if I talk about the queueable apex, max 50 job can be added to the queue in a single transaction. Here we also have important limit, we can have the 50 jobs in the one queue in one single transactions. uh, when chaining jobs with Async job, you can only add one job from executing job. Means if I go here and in this execute method, if I need to call, then I can only call one time. Like we can't go and call twice. So we need to keep this in mind as well. And again, we can track from the setup apex jobs or from the async apex job object, because this queueable is returning the id, so with help of that id we can query on the async apex job. So some failure mechanism, if I talk, good thing is always store the response, job id. For example, if I go here, then you can see job id here, the debug log. Let me try again. Oh, sorry, I'm not storing anywhere, right? So let's say id, job id equal to this, and we can debug it. Otherwise we can track directly from this. And based on this job id we can query on the ascent object name is async apex job. Status completed, or maybe a status failed or aborted, so we can directly do in the apex. We can also have our retry logic, like let's say due to any specific reason if job failed, we can retry that with that enqueue method. Okay, now directly I'm moving on the. Okay, I see some chat here. Let me check.
Yeah, somebody was asking about if we recorded it. They had joined late, so
Awesome. Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, one thing to call out on the previous slide, the it's 50 it's 50 jobs in a single transaction in production. In a sandbox, I think the limit is what, five?
Okay, so
Yeah.
regarding this queuable one, so we can quickly check the official queuable job governor limits page. In Salesforce, the governor limit for queuable jobs is 50 jobs per transaction using this method.
Yeah, I thought there was a you get a depth error in yeah, so change for
This
developer
one?
edition and trial editions, the maximum stack depth is chain jobs is five. Second bullet
Oh,
or
okay, okay.
third bullet, I should say.
Got it. Thanks for
Yeah,
calling out. Okay,
yeah.
so
We run
developer.
into this all the time where we the thing is supposed to run for 50 and but we were testing it in like a scratch org or a sandbox. It'll only allow you to go five deep before it blows up.
Makes sense. Thanks for sharing that.
Yep.
Yes. So for the production, this is 50, and yes, if we are using developer edition or trial, then 50. Nice. Okay. So now I think let's come on the batch apex. That's one is like my favorite because I always use that. Recently, just I want to share one story. Recently, I faced one of the challenge like there was a print logic. Like I was working for one of the university project and admin need to print the report for the students and for one student there is I can say 10 sometime 20 page reports depending on the number of pfas, number of their parents, uh, and when in the list view, like again list view was the custom like on the custom on the community portal on the custom page, if we have more than 200 or 300 records and once they are clicking the print button, sometimes CPU limit was occurred and they were not able to print the page. Reason was like for one students we have couple of SOQL query, couple of process happening, checking their parents, their fee status and their number of PFAs, and it's taking lots of time. So what we have done, just we implemented, like let's say we are dynamically checking the CPU limit, okay, and we just defined one custom label and we have added some limit, like let's say 100 reports, so 100 records. So if user is going to exceed the 100 records, then print in the real time, and in that real time also check the governor limits. If we feel it will exceeded, like it will fail due to CPU limit, just switch to the batch, handle the print logic in the batch, generate the PDF and save in the content document, like save as a file, later they can download. Also outside of that 100 label, like let's say 200 records means more than our defined criteria, then automatically without checking border limits go to the batch and generate the PDF, save in the file. So here I hope few of you are able to visualize that challenge, like we are struggling with the printing logic, and now with that dynamic approach, okay, if less record then print in the real time, if more record we know that okay CPU limit will come and print will fail, then directly switch to the batch and notify the user on the screen, hey, you will receive one email once your document is ready. So this is one example. Also previously I worked with sending message to multiple users. Let's say from the report, let's say I am going to select multiple records and just sending to them. Like we have taken the report in the page, custom page, and we are selecting the multiple record and sending the SMS. That time we use the batch. For data cleaning, for archiving the data, sending the record to S3, we have used batch. So here very powerful tools. Good thing is that if we are going to query the record, it will return 5 million or 5 million, right? Let's quickly check. Query locator in batch limit 50 million, I can say. Yes, 50 millions, not 5 millions, I'm sorry. So a good thing is that database.query locator can return up to 50 millions. But if I talk about normal SQL query in the Apex, it will only return maximum 50k, 50,000. If more than 50,000, then that SQL query fail. But our query locator returns 50 millions records. So here just few important thing. Processing happen chunk one by one in the chunk. Okay, if we have more than a million records, then go ahead, use that one. Okay, now if you're working with fewer than 50 records, as we discussed earlier, like here just decision making we are doing. If we feel no, in this use case, in this specific example, maximum 50 records will be modified, or even we are calling one by one, then also we can go ahead and use the future or queueable as we discussed earlier. But here we have large data set, batch classes are best fit. And how it works, again, in this example, let's say we have multiple inactive contacts and we need to mark that status archived. Okay, and later let's say another batch is running and just sending those data to the Amazon S3 or Google Drive, then we are deleting that from Salesforce. We can use that. How it works, just class name implements database batchable, and here is the beauty: start query locator, start method, then execute method, and finish method. And let's say this record is returning the 50 million record maximum. It will be able to take the 50 million records, and now process will happen based on our execute batch, this second parameters. So while creating the class, we have defined the class, declare the start method. Start method will just return the get query locator, like query locator means the record you want to process. Here we are just querying all the contacts where status is inactive. And then this execute method, this execute method will take this scope based on this batch size. By default, if you are not passing this, like database.execute batch and this class new cleanup contacts default constructor, if we need to pass some more parameters, we can of course define the parameterized constructors. And we are passing here 500 means one chunk, let's bring the 500 records. So here let's say one example, this query is returning only 1000 records, just for example, then this execute will call two times, 500 records first chunk, in second and another 500 records. Okay, and now let's say millions, then according to that this execute will be called. And so records divided by the our scope parameters, that specific time execute method will call. Sometime here we need to take keep in mind, sometime automatically the number of execute can be exceeded. Like let's say I am calculating my execute should call 10 times, but it's not always correct. we experienced multiple time. Maybe you are counting 10 time, but your execute is going to running 11 time. Maybe in the ninth batch, ninth time execute, there might be chance of corner limit, then automatically batch is switching to one more execute methods. I hope I am able to explain here. Like this is dynamically taken care by the Apex job here, batch job here. So but again, as of now, let's keep it simple. Based on our number of records, this execute method will call, and once we are done with processing of all records, then finish method will work, and here we can do the final processing. Like let's say I have to notify some user, okay, these number of records are processed, so we can use the send email logic here. I also added note here, if we are not notifying the scope here, we are not writing anything, just directly we are keeping this only using first parameter, we are not using second parameter, then batch will take 200 records by default. Okay, so I also have that Apex class handy here. Class name is cleanup contacts. So let me go to the Apex class. Okay, as of now, because in my org I don't have inactive contact, so let me remove this, okay, just for this demo. Okay, let me check, I have some contacts left. Okay, yeah, I have 17 contacts here. That's fine. This is my sandbox org, so no issue for data. Okay, now I'm just going to run this, and I'm just passing 5. Okay, let's click execute. I'm going to Apex job, setup Apex job. Oh, okay. So what I'm doing, I am going to update the status, and archived is not a value. So here, good thing, if something wrong happen, we can also track from here. Update was failing because I was trying to pass the archived value, but on my contact status is restricted pick list, and we can't pass archived. So why not quickly go to this object manager. But here you can see total batch 4. Why total batch 4? Because I used here 5 and number of contact was 17th, right? 15, and in the last 2 record 17. So let me go quickly on the object. Let's say status, sorry, first contact, status. So I'm going to use terminated for now. Okay, edit. Again, I'm not doing good practice here, like directly changing the from browser, but fine for this demo. Terminated. Issue was archived value was not there, so I can either add the archive or maybe I can just modify my class for demo. Okay, now let's run again. Refresh this. And you can see 4 batch process, failure 0, total batch 4, it's completed now, and Apex class name is here, right? Job ID is here, and it's submitted by me, so I can track from here. If I go on my contact records, or let's say here in the SQL query, count from why not, let's say status, all status should be terminated, right? Because my batch worked and updated the all the record. Again, it's not looking on the data, it's not perfect demo, but yes, you can visualize it will work for million of records and it will work in the same context. If I don't pass any parameters, let's run again. Now you will see only one batch because by default 200 batch there, right? So one. And how it's working? This query is returning 17 record in my org, that's less than 200, so only one job, one time execute is getting called. Okay, we can add the debug log and we can check the debug, like in the final it batch job completed should be there. Okay, so important thing here regarding governor limits again. So I think good, 50 million records in manageable chunks, 200 record per batch by default. We just discussed in the demo part. Okay. Again, this is very important. Maximum we can have 5 batch running at the same time, and 100 batch can be in the queue. Let's say a flexi queue, we can have 100 batch at one time. And beauty of this batch is, like if I go previous screen, every time execute is getting called, governor limit is getting reset, means a new context is getting started. So let's say in one first time in the execute I use the all allowed governor limits. Now second time we are getting again fresh governor limits. And a good thing is that if we look on the official governor limits Salesforce page, in the async process everything is almost 2x. For example, total number of SQL query in the sync 100, but in the async 200. Okay, few more thing, let's say something, yeah, this one, heap size is 2x, heap size 6 MB in the sync and 12 MB in the async. So it will also help you planning your batch size. Like earlier, remember I was talking one use case for the printing of school reports. That time when we moved to async process, we think 2x than the single context in the Apex. So based on that you can visualize how many batch size you are going to define here while executing the batch. So each execution chunk, like let's summarize, let's say in the very simple way, each execute method will take the on governor limits. We can check from the Apex job as I was talking there, and we can use the database.stateful interface. So what we can do, if we use the database.stateful, then benefit is that we can maintain the state of variable across multiple execute method. Like here in the class, if we have public variable and if we are just implementing a stateful interface and we are increasing the value of public variable, let's say counter, integer counter, we are increasing here in this execute, then even in the third execute, fourth execute, that counter value will be go forward, and we can print the final value in the finish method. Something maybe for calculation, like okay, in the finish we have to print all the final value calculated from the execute. We can use the stateful interface here. Well, in the finish, let's go with the clean up things or notifying to user. And if we have to handle some error specific to that record, or I can say that specific context, like where your DML is happening, then do your exception handling and proper error tracking in the execute itself. So process wise, like complete process wise, error handling you can do in the finish method, and per context, like per job, you can handle in the execute itself, right? And process wise fully in the finish method. Okay, last, like fourth part, that is schedule Apex. And very similar, like many of you are already using flow. So in the flow we also have the similar functionality, but here in the terms of Apex, earlier I was talking example daily. Remember I was talking one example for the printing the report. In that there was one challenge. After 1 month, after 2 months, lots of file storage used there, right? And maybe that report was one time used. So there is always good practice to clean up the unused, like delete the unused file and clean up the storage. So we implemented like, okay, after every 1 month, check the 1 month older reports and just delete it. So we can just use the schedule Apex. We written another batch job. In that batch job we have written the logic to check the 1 month older file and delete that, and file specific to some library, so that we are not deleting other file, just we are deleting the file that was generated by the user during the print reporting, right? Okay, similarly if we have to notify, like let's send email, we can go ahead and you can schedule Apex job. Here again some important point: one instance of schedule job per Apex class can run at the given time schedule. Means let's say tomorrow 10 a.m. my one class, only one time I can schedule. So generally what happen, if I'm going to schedule same class at the same time, it will throw the error. Okay, we need to plan here. Nothing like, okay, just quickly, let's say I need 10 a.m. today, just go and schedule. No, you have to plan in advance, like when you want to schedule. And we also need to keep in mind, it might be possible it's not exact time, like if I schedule at 10 a.m. it might be possible it running at 10:05 a.m. So you need to be feasible for that. And yeah, if you need instant result, then of course there is no concept of async, right? We have already sync process. Maybe you need to click a button, send the email, maybe click a button, add the call the method and delete the file, right? So it's not for the instant one, it's for something for the scheduled one. Okay, and again signature wise, just class implements scheduled, and we need to follow this signature while execute schedulable context we are using here. And now call your logic or method inside this, and then why not, I have this class already. So this example is running the 9 a.m. daily, like I'm going to schedule this weekly reminder class 9 a.m. daily with this cron expression. Just we need to define the cron expression. Here I'm telling, okay, 9 a.m. Monday, and I'm scheduling this class. So let's say weekly reminder class, straightforward, just implements schedulable, then call the define the execute method, and inside this call your logic, call your batch method from here, right? Or call your normal method from here. And since if we have large data set, then again call the batch Apex, as I was sharing one example, deleting the all the large number of files, reports, that's from the here. Okay, same thing, like I need to send daily morning SMS, and again that SMS is calling out API call out, right? So here I can call the batch class that is calling method to send the SMS or send the email. So I have weekly reminder class again here. Let's go quickly to class. Okay, same screenshot I've taken from VS Code, and just I'm copying this cron expression, and let's go to developer console. Okay, see, good. I already have this job running here. So let me go, before this session I was just trying out that code. So let me go to schedule job. We can track from the schedule job page. And here you can see weekly job. Let me delete this. We can also schedule directly from here, like let's go click on scheduled and choose your class from here, then schedule accordingly, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. If you need more customized, then of course Apex is the way. From the Apex, yeah, so we can track from this schedule job page. Let me click cancel, and it's here, right? And good thing is that we can check when it's submitted and when it will run next time. So next time is next Monday 27th 9 a.m. Okay, so just in the some fast track, we covered the 4 different async ways. Here important thing again, 100 active scheduled job at one time allowed per org. And as I was talking earlier, it's not fixed time. It will go as per service available time. Maybe if you are expecting 5 a.m., it can go with the 5 a.m. 5-minute delay as well. We can track from the schedule job page. As I was just there on the schedule job, we have option to delete, we have option to pause, we have option to again manage and go ahead change it, like okay, I need Tuesday as well, Wednesday as well, right? Then schedule the job, it will work according to that. I need to put some end date as well, let's say like this. Yeah, so now it's rescheduled. Next time, like we can track when it was worked. Let's say I need to verify if on 27 it worked, then we can say okay, started 27 and next is next Monday, or as per our rule what we have defined. Again, for handling, we should follow the mechanism, like if a job is failing, maybe we can need to reschedule that. Okay, again, tracking is very much needed, error tracking, because it's asynchronous. So it might be possible that time debug log is not enabled, or of course we need to take care in maybe some custom object or maybe some other mechanism using platform events, or lots of strategy we have, right, for logging the errors. We can take care from there. The same thing I think already we discussed in the page, like we can go and check the Apex job page. We have debug log. We can build some custom app where we can query on the Async Apex job and display some good dashboard, or maybe some beautiful LWC page. And we can also automate some emails, like some error happened, notify to some system admin or your organization's IT department, right? So Apex job page, system log, debug log, monitoring dashboard we can create custom, or maybe go ahead and build your notification tools. Again, just we need to make sure if really we needed, because in the today's demo I was talking with 17 record, 20 record. I can say okay, no, I don't need it asynchronous processing, right? But as an architect or as a developer, we need to think for future. Like maybe I am today implementing something with one customer, we can look their future goal, right? Today maybe they have less record, but tomorrow they after 1 year, after 2 years, they can have large record sets. So plan accordingly and then design the solution. There is always best practices to choose the right async method. Look on the official Salesforce guide, architect resources, and take the call which method will be best fit, which way is best fit. We should not go and overload our system. Plan accordingly, like if we need to go with the queueable to queueable, then go accordingly, otherwise you go to the batch. Maybe take call out when you are using the future, or when you are using batch, as we discussed already earlier. Proper exception handling is needed, so that you or your system admin can take care and you can monitor the job accordingly. We need to optimize your logic. Even if we are on the execute method, it might be possible the corner limit given for that context is over, right? So we need to take care that part as well. Corner limit, like make sure you're not doing DML inside the for loop, you're not using DML inside the sorry, you're not using SOQL query inside the loop. So we need to take care for that as well. Good documentation is very important here for all the async or even for sync, right? Documentation is needed for your code, and your code should be tested properly with the test method. Smart something here I can add, just I have already covered earlier today. Always monitor and improve the process. If you think something failing, go ahead and improve that. Always explore what's the new release coming. As Jason added earlier, okay, that's good learning. Like in the developer edition, maybe I am expecting 50, but it's only 5 there, right? So it will come with always learning. And yeah, once again, thank you very much, all of you. If any question, let's talk in the chat or maybe unmute. So I try to cover some of the highlights from all 4 methods in last approx 1 hour. Any question, I will happy to talk. You can always connect on the LinkedIn. And recently, I written this book, Salesforce Automation with Salesforce Follow and Apex. It's also available on the Amazon. Any question, I will happy to discuss here. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't see anything in the chat. Yeah, I didn't have any questions. This was a great overview of the different async processes that are available to us as Salesforce developers. I think this was very thorough and really good. I appreciate all the hard work you put into this one. So I will have this recorded and it will be put up on our YouTube channel sometime later this afternoon or evening, depending on how long it takes Zoom to process the video, and we'll go from there. All right. If nobody else has anything, then I think we're good. Thank you so much, Om, for stopping by today and presenting. And I be on the lookout for other events that'll be upcoming. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you
Take
very
care,
much.
everybody.
Bye bye.